These clinics are led by a great team of experts. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Kate Maher caught up with stockmanship expert Curt Pate to get his thoughts on the value of these events.
Thanks, Kevin. You know, cattle handling skills are important to producers of all sizes, and we're here with one of the experts in cattle handling, Mr. Curt Pate. Curt, I've watched many cattle handling demonstrations that you put on, and I learn something new every time. Talk about stewardship and stockmanship and just how it's evolved and how producers can really utilize it.
So I kind of was at the beginning of this thing. I got lucky and we did the first one in Texas, and then we brought it on to the NCBA convention in Denver one time. And I kind of pitched the idea, and they went with it, and I thought we'd just have a couple of times, and it has just grown more and more and more. And this new Stockmanship and Stewardship program that they've got going now is just, I couldn't have dreamed it would have been so good. They've done such a great job of promoting and bringing folks in for total stockmanship, not just cattle handling, but the whole picture. And that's what Stockmanship and Stewardship is all about.
And that's a really great point, the whole picture. And these clinics have been put on all across the country. How can producers of any size, regardless of their region, regardless of their facilities, really take these skills back and use them?
There's a lot of ways to go about working cattle. And what I try to promote for myself, and I come from the horse world where this has been happening for quite a while, and it has in the cattle world as well, but we just didn't know we were doing it. But I try to work with feel, timing, and balance. And that's a nice 3 words. And so if we can use feel, timing, and balance, feel means how much pressure you use or don't use, timing, pressuring at the right time, and balancing the two, then your facilities don't matter so much, your crew doesn't matter so much, your cattle don't matter as much because you fit the situation. So that's what I try to promote with the things we do in these cattle handling demonstrations. Common sense is hard to teach. Feel, timing, balance is hard to teach. And so I think Ron and I have kind of a good combination of 2 different styles, kind of, but bringing them together. And when people walk out of here, they have ideas to go home with and think about.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's additional benefits other than just lower stress on the cattle. It's what other benefits to producers are there in terms of safety and economics even?
Yeah, and that's the big thing we need to start proving in our world is what. It's really hard to gauge what loading cattle on a trailer or loading cattle on a truck, right, what effects the cattle handling or the stockmanship makes, because there's so many different variables. So that's the next thing we have to do with our stockmanship and stewardship is get proof that stockmanship does make a difference on the bottom line for safety, and I say for human stress or non-stress.
You made a comment earlier about the cow-calf producer being the backbone of this industry, and as a former cow-calf producer myself, that is really close to my heart, and I appreciate that. Again, why do we kind of need to all be on the same page in terms of what we do and doing it well to make sure that we're producing the beef that's going to end up on plates?
So back to the consumer. I mean, the backbone is really not selling to the consumer. There's a few different people in between there. But with being the backbone, we have to get that resource and start it out so whoever takes it from us can go on and produce that protein or that great piece of eating, that great eating experience farther down the line. So I think it's so important that we all get together, and there's so many different ways, so many different breeds, so many different styles, so many different grasses, all these things that we can argue about. But there's so many different consumers out there, we can all provide something for everybody. And if we do it right, we do it environmentally right, and we do it in a way that is sound, that the consumer can look at us and say, we can do that. I think we're on the right track.
And I think good stockmanship that you teach is definitely a common denominator among all producers, so thank you.
Yeah, that's the thing. I look at this whole thing, and I don't care if you're a grass finishing producer or working in a dairy, or you're a high-level Wagyu producer, or if you're finishing cattle in a large feedlot, the stockmanship is always a component of it. And the way those cattle, if cattle chew their cud, I think we're doing good. If they're not chewing their cud, we're doing something wrong. And that doesn't matter what breed or what level of the industry in. So I try to get cattle lay down, get full, chew their cud and be happy. And then I think we're doing the right thing no matter where we're at.
I agree. Curt, thanks always for your insights. It's so nice to talk to you every time we see you. Thanks again.
I have fun.
Kevin, we'll send it back to you.
As you've just heard, these training sessions provide valuable hands-on learning in the area of beef quality assurance and low-stress cattle handling. If you'd like to attend one of these sessions, just visit stockmanshipandstewardship.org for details on when and where you can find an event.